Thank you, Joel. Well, we are a little over 2 weeks away from the start of a new year. In addition to those last-minute Christmas shopping items you need to get, many of us are already setting some resolutions. And you know just how quickly, as we set them, we start to struggle to keep them, right? But it's really hard. So registered dietitian Leslie Goudarzi says she's got some ways to make it a little less hard for us. And we're going to get some practical ways to set realistic, sustainable goals. Is that really the key here, realistic and sustainable, and not to go too far out there in the beginning?
Absolutely. It's really important to make sure that we're following kind of a SMART goal type scenario. And SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time sensitive. So we want to make sure we hit all of those points.
Well, you often talk about habit stacking. What is that for people who've never heard that term before?
Habit stacking is linking a new behavior with some already established behaviors. For example, we have brushing and flossing, which should be established behaviors. And so we can also put a new habit in there. For example, if you don't normally eat breakfast, eating breakfast before you brush and floss can be a way of incorporating that breakfast.
And we were talking about sometimes none of us have time to work out at the end of the day because we're so busy with events and children's things. So you've sort of added that to your morning routine because it was the only way that worked. So kind of like flossing, adding it to your morning routine.
Exactly. And so for me, if I'm going to have a successful exercise programming, that means I get up and do that before I start my day. There's no competing obligations as there seem to be in the afternoon hours or things that get added on, work commitments,
right.
Social commitments. Yes.
We're all so busy. Another thing that we're all doing these days is we're on our technology, and we rely on that a lot of times to help us with our goals. Can it be helpful?
Absolutely. There's a couple of apps that probably everyone's heard of, like MyFitnessPal. There's also a new one that I've been trying out that I think is really very interesting and cool, and I have no attachment to it, but it's called Cal AI, and it's very simple, similar to tracking your fitness and your nutrition entries. However, with this one, you can actually screenshot a picture of your food or the label or the barcode, and it is actually really accurate. I've been testing it out. It has over 1 million foods entered in there. And if, like, for example, one day I did a snap of a waffle box and it thought I ate the entire box of waffles, it does have an option to fix that and go back to just having a serving. So that is very useful. It also tracks your activity as well.
And how can technology sabotage you a little bit?
It can sabotage you if it's not exactly accurate or you're not using it consistently. It's really what you put into it, you're going to get back out of it. So you really need to make sure that you are using it consistently and then entering your information appropriately.
Yeah, I feel like if I don't have my smartwatch with me, then it didn't happen. Like I didn't do that walk, and then I feel guilty and like, how do I get that back in? So,
yes, you have to kind of get credit for those activities. We've become used to that.
Well, motivation can become really hard as you're trying to do these goals. What do you suggest with that?
Start small and really be patient with yourself. I think it's really important to recognize when you're making changes, a lot of people become really frustrated, like, why isn't this working for me? And I think it's really important to recognize that there are 4 steps that happen before you actually make a change. You have to, some people are not even considering a change. You have to consider the change, the pros and cons, weigh those, prepare for the change before you actually make the change behavior. So getting all of those steps straight and making sure that those are in line, really important.
Before you get started. All right, Leslie's going to stick with us for our streaming show because you've got so much good advice to help us maintain and reach our goals for the new year. We'll be right back.